Hello, truth seekers. How are you today? All right, we are going to continue with discernment. This is part 3. How do I discern? And we're focusing, recap here for those who haven't seen the first 2 videos, and I encourage you to go look at those. They are in the playlist Truth Seekers Private Videos in my YouTube channel. Okay, so continuing on with discernment with a brief review. Okay, first of all, narrow it down. You got to narrow it down to a couple, maybe 2 or 3 different options or decisions. Don't have 10, narrow it down. And then don't forget to ask yourself, why? Why do I want these 2 things in my life? And then the second part was to take it to God and to sit and put yourself in both of those decisions. Live your life that way. Think about yourself tomorrow, in a month, in a year. What does it feel like? What is your body saying? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you, just not feeling good? Do you have a little excitement? Kind of like, yeah, I'm anxious, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to do this decision. And don't let the knowledge of what your new life or new decision could be, right? I mean, if you've never had a child before and you're discerning having children right now, you don't know how that's going to go. You don't know how a new job will go. You don't know how retirement will go. You don't know how marriage will go. You don't know how maybe starting up your own business or ministry will go. So you just have to kind of be okay with that. And that's where the trust comes into God. And so this is where the next step comes in, and that means talking to someone about it. We chatted about that. Like if it's a spouse, let's say you're discussing having children, you should be talking to your spouse about it. But I would also take it to someone who you trust, who is a spiritual companion, spiritual director, a faith coach, something so that you can be sure that you're not fooling yourself. Because what you're discerning is between your will, evil's will, and God's will. And sometimes we don't exactly know, especially when you're choosing between 2 good things. So take it to someone who can truly hear all of, the analysis that you've been putting yourself through, that can hear the outcome of the different feelings and things that you think God is telling you as you discern and put yourself into these 2 different decisions. And then sit. Oh, do not run. Do not shout out the decision. Sit with it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have a little decision remorse, right? The day after you make that decision, you're going to be questioning it. And when you do decide, eventually we'll get there. There is a continual check-in with God. And maybe you make a mistake, right? That's why you want to check in with God. And as you go through the doors, and as you go through the day, next day, and the day after, and the day after that, as you see doors opening, opportunities coming your way that support this new decision, you will notice and you'll realize God's opening those doors for you. Okay, but it really is about talking to others and people who are real spiritual leaders in your life. Let it all out there. Don't hold anything back. And then take that back into adoration. Think about it. What did that person say? Is it God maybe speaking through that person? Maybe they brought something to your attention that you hadn't considered. And so you go back into adoration and you sit with it. It's really important not to jump, because you might be so excited and you will think that that's God's zeal in your body. And yet it's you, because you so badly want this. I want to share a little story with you. When I was deciding between 2 jobs, I knew one of the companies very well, and I knew the people there very well. And the other company was a brand new company, didn't really know anybody there. And the position was created for me. So it's never been done before. I've never done the position before. Both of them had a totally different kind of, they were both in the IT world, but one was in the software space. The other one was in consulting. It would have been a completely night and day type of role. And I ended up going with the one with the software company where they created the job for me, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was scared. When I was making that decision, I had to say, okay, God, I'd like to take this chance, but you're going to have to help me because I have no idea what I'm doing. Turns out it was the best decision of my life. That job prepared me for marketing, for sharing my story, for getting on a stage in front of thousands of people. It helped me in kind of like networking and guiding and leading and coaching other executives down this new path of a new software. It was really quite amazing at what God taught me in that job that turned out to help me in my ministry. And I would have never, in my wildest dream at that time, thought that God wanted me to get into ministry. So I just want to say, you may be shocked and you may be a little bit afraid, but it doesn't mean that that's not the way that God wants you to go, because you need to just humble yourself and give yourself to the Lord and trust that He's going to teach you, because He did. He taught me, and I continue to be taught every single day. I learned something new. Okay, discernment, part 3. It's a tough one. Take it to some spiritual companions that you respect and that you trust, and then take that back to God and sit with it. If you can, if you need to make a decision, then obviously you're going to have to move. And then we'll talk about, where do you go after you make that decision? Because discernment should be something we do every single day. It's a big deal. That's when you're living in the Spirit. That's when you're living with God. That is when you know His voice over yours and over Satan's. And that takes some time, your time with God, to learn it. And more time that you speak to Him and learn it all throughout your day, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be easier. But it does take time. Alrighty, everyone. Have a blessed and inspired week, focusing on discernment in the small and the big areas of your life. Always pray through it. Alrighty, everyone. I love you all. Have a blessed and inspired week. Talk to you next time.